You hear the word God, the word Jehovah, the word Lord, the word Jesus, the word Christ, and you think of something other than yourself, one that is greater, one that you would worship. Tonight it is my purpose to show you that God and the eye of man are one.
Have you ever thought about who you really are, where you came from, and where you're going? All of us have seen someone being born and someone passing away. Our elders have told us that humans come from God and eventually return to God. But who is God? Where is God? This is one of the biggest mysteries of life. Whether someone is poor or rich, a celebrity or just an ordinary person, everyone wants to know. Who is God and who am I? This mystery was revealed by one of the greatest minds, Neville Goddard, about 70 years ago. He taught something very unconventional, something that not everyone easily accepts. His revelation leaves people surprised and even shocked. But it also opens the door to a powerful truth. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Also, after learning what he taught, many people began to manifest their desires effortlessly. Whenever someone comes across Neville Goddard's teachings, something clicks inside them. A shift happens. A new understanding awakens, just like it may have happened to you too. Let me know in the comments, did this also feel true for you? What I'm about to tell you is not just a concept, not just a spiritual theory, not just another quote to save to your phone and scroll past later. This is the truth that collapses the illusion of separation and turns your entire life into a living manifestation of your desires. This is the truth that most people hear, nod at, maybe even quote, but almost none fully embody. And yet, Neville Goddard repeated it again and again. God and I are one. And the moment this becomes not just something you say, but something you live, something you breathe, something you feel in the very marrow of your being, your entire world changes. Instantly, drastically, irreversibly. Now, you can either accept this or reject it. The choice is yours. But the truth is, God and I are one. God is within us, and we are within Him. But then the question arises, who is God? Understanding this is extremely important because it makes a huge difference. People who fail to grasp this truth often stay stuck in their manifestation journey, no matter how hard they try. But those who truly understand it, everything starts to change for them. When Neville said, God and I are one, he wasn't speaking metaphorically, and he wasn't referring to some religious deity in the sky. He meant that the very force of creation, the one we've been taught to worship from a distance, the one we've prayed to as if we were separate, as if we had to beg, bargain, or plead, was not outside of us at all. It was within. Not just within as in close by or whispering guidance, but within as in you. Your awareness, your I am, that silent consciousness you hear when you say, I am tired, or I am successful, or I am wealthy, that is God. Think about that for a moment. That silent knowingness at the center of you, the one who sees, the one who observes, the one who imagines and dreams and fears and hopes, that is the creative power of the universe itself. And when you realize that, really realize it, your entire approach to life has to change. But you might be thinking, why is knowing all this so important for you? You just came here to watch a manifestation video, hoping to get your desire quickly. And I get it, I know you've been trying to manifest something for a while now. But unlike many other channels, I'm not going to give you a quick fix, a shortcut technique, or some magic trick that works in one try. Because if such a method truly existed, it would be sold for billions. But that doesn't mean you can't manifest. You absolutely can. But your foundation needs to be strong. And that's exactly what this video is for, to strengthen your foundation. Whenever you try any technique, doubts creep in. You know you're supposed to have faith, but deep inside, there's this weird feeling, am I doing it right? Am I making a mistake? All of that happens because the foundation isn't solid. After watching this video, you'll feel a shift. You'll notice the difference. So get ready, because your life is about to change. Here's the truth, when you say I am, you are invoking the name of God. This is not philosophy. This is not metaphor. This is law. Neville taught that the name of God in the Bible, I am that I am, is not just a cryptic spiritual statement, it is the exact formula of creation. I am is your consciousness, and whatever follows those words in your thoughts and beliefs becomes your world. When you say I am unworthy, you are misusing the name of God. When you say I am successful, I am abundant, I am loved, you are aligning yourself with the divine truth and calling those realities into being. This is why Neville was so insistent. You must be careful with what you claim about yourself. Because you are not just talking to the air, you are shaping the very clay of existence itself. God isn't granting your desires from afar. God is your imagination, and it is your responsibility to use it wisely. The belief that God is separate from us is the great lie, one passed down through generations, reinforced by religious systems, cultural conditioning, and a world that benefits from your disempowerment. But when you finally wake up to the realization that there is no gap between you and God, when you finally collapse that illusion of separation, everything becomes possible. You stop asking if it will happen. You stop wondering when it will come. You know, because you are the source from which it comes. And yes, this truth is frightening to some, because it means you are fully responsible. You cannot blame a distant God. You cannot pray one way and live another. You cannot hide behind unworthiness anymore. When you accept that you and God are one, there are no excuses left, only infinite power, infinite potential, and infinite permission to create. But this doesn't mean you should start thinking that your body is God. I've seen many people confuse their identity, their name, their body, or even their mind with God. And then others start calling them crazy because they forget something very important. This body was born at a certain time, and it will end someday. It's mortal. Even the greatest saints, the wisest philosophers, even your favorite Neville Goddard, couldn't stop their physical death. But you need to understand something deeper. It wasn't them who died. It was the identity, the body, the mind that ended. What didn't die is the awareness that was operating through all of it. That awareness is real, that is immortal, and that is what we call God. It is that awareness which manifests, which creates, which sustains, and which destroys. Your body and your mind are just collections of past experiences, impressions, and memories that you've gathered over time. The real you cannot be defined. We call it consciousness or awareness simply because we don't have the right words for it. It can't be described, but it can be experienced. So, the point is, don't mistake your body, your name, or your current identity for God, because all of that can change. Right now, you might be feeling sad. And if that sadness has lasted for a while, people might even label you as depressed. That becomes your identity. But the truth is that identity is something you chose, and you can change it anytime by choosing and embodying a different one. Neville taught that imagination is not just a tool. It is not a visualization exercise. It is God in motion. It is creation taking form. Every time you imagine something, whether it's a fear or a dream, you are impressing your subconscious mind. And your subconscious, being one with the creative power of God, begins to mold your reality to reflect that impression. Imagine a world where you walk through life knowing that your inner world is the cause and your outer world is the effect. That is what it means to live in the awareness that God and I are one. You no longer wait for miracles, you become the miracle. You no longer seek signs, you realize you are the sign. You stop chasing and start allowing. You stop wishing and start assuming. Living from the end, as Neville often said, is what God does. God does not hope or wish or plan. God declares. God assumes the end and rests in the knowing that it is already done. And when you say I am one with God, it means that you, too, must operate from that state of certainty. This is the way of divine manifestation. You don't beg for love, you become it. You don't chase money, you assume wealth. You don't hope for success, you embody the one who already has it. Because if God and I are one, then the end result is already mine, and all I have to do is feel it into being. A lot of people don't give enough importance to living from the end. But the truth is, living from the end is a beautiful and powerful way to manifest your desires. Because when you start living internally as if your desire has already come true, when you behave, think, and feel like the person who already has what they want, you begin to embody that state. You take on the identity, the self-concept, of the version of you who already has the desire. And this changes how you see yourself and how you feel on the inside. Let's say you were single and wanted to experience love. At this point, you may have identified with loneliness, but if you start living from the end, you will shift your concept of self. You no longer see yourself as someone who is alone. You start seeing yourself as someone who is deeply loved. You start feeling it, believing it, and even acting from that space. Your reality started to shift. Changes began to show up in your life. You started seeing new opportunities, and slowly, your entire life began to transform. All because you changed within first. You lived from the end. And the outer world had no choice but to match it. And now, instead of saying, I am lonely, you confidently say, I am loved. That's the power of living from the end. If you feel far from your dreams, if you feel disconnected from power, if you feel like your manifestations aren't working, it's not because something is missing, it's because you've forgotten who you are. You are not a beggar asking the universe for scraps. You are not a servant waiting for reward. You are the operant power. You are the source. You are God in human expression. You don't need permission. You need remembrance. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you shrink into fear or unworthiness, you are denying your divine identity. And every time you claim your desire boldly, feel it is already yours, and walk in that knowing, you are honoring the truth that God and I are one. I want to remind you once again, if your name is Emma, you're a woman, you're Christian, and you're 30 years old. That doesn't mean Emma is God, or being a woman is God, or Christians are God, or a 30-year-old human body is God. These are just identities. Your name was given to you by your parents. Your body came from them too. Your religion is something you accepted. Your age is simply a part of your body's timeline. But God is not any of these labels. God is your awareness, your consciousness, or in Neville's words, your imagination. That's why when you imagine, stay aware of what you're thinking. Be conscious of what you're imagining, and ask yourself, what am I planting in my mind? What could be the outcome of this thought? Because your imagination is powerful, it creates your world. After creating over 600 videos, I'm now thinking about writing a book. But I want to let you know upfront, it will be a paid book. Because the truth is, people often don't value things that are given for free. I know I've mentioned before on this channel that I wanted to launch a course, but whenever I actually sit down to create it, I start feeling like I've already shared so much valuable information in these free videos. And for some reason, something shifts inside me and I end up not moving forward. But now, I really want to go through that process. In fact, I've even bought a course myself to learn how to build a proper paid course or community. Let's see how that goes and when I finally launch it. In the meantime, I want to ask you, would you be interested in buying the book I'm planning to write? Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. Anyways, manifestation, especially using the tool of imagination, is not some quick fix or short-term hack. It's a long-term game, a way of living that requires a strong inner foundation. Because you don't create your reality from the outside in. You create it from the inside out. And the stronger your inner world, the more effortlessly your outer world begins to shift. This truth is not something you just hear, it's something you embody. It's not just something you believe, it's something you live. And if you do, your entire life will rise to meet it. Your manifestations will become not only possible but inevitable, because you will no longer be trying to attract something outside of you. You will be expressing something that has always been within. And now I want to hear from you. What's one area of your life where you're ready to stop begging and start declaring? Where are you ready to remember that you are God in action? Declare it, speak it, claim it. Because the moment you do, the universe begins to move, not because it heard you, but because you finally remembered who you are. I will meet you with another video. Happy manifesting.